In my years as a priest, I've met many people who, over time, make changes in their lives and become better people. Something happens to them, or some process of grace or maturation kicks in, and we begin to see the person move with a better direction in his or her life. Some bad people later turn out to be pretty good people. And we realize that we need to suspend judgment and give people time to change. Kind of what happened with the conversion of St. Paul in the early days of Christianity. Similarly, something in a person's life which initially looks bad later turns out to be something good. I will always remember the bride who was devastated the week before her wedding when her fiancé sent her a note, told her he no longer wanted to marry her. She thought her whole world was caving in on her, and she believed that she was now living her worst nightmare. A year or two later, she began to date another man who turned out to be the nicest person she ever met. He proposed to her several years later, and I had the pleasure of witnessing their wedding vows and later baptizing their firstborn son. She could not be happier, and today realizes that what might initially look like such a bad thing can later change with God's grace and be seen as a great opportunity for something new or better. Today in our gospel, we have another parable from the field of farming. Last week was the sower and the seed, and today we have the parable of the weeds and the wheat. The farmer goes out to the field and he sows good seeds of wheat. And later an enemy comes and sows in that same field the seeds of weeds. With the passing of time, both types of seeds grow, and the field now has a crop of both wheat and weeds. There was a weed at that time which was called darnel, and it looked a lot like wheat. Sometimes the farmer could not tell which was which until the time of harvest. At harvest time, he would be able to separate the weed from the wheat. To do so earlier, he would risk losing some wheat in the process. The parable reminds us to give people time to change. The readings remind us that God governs with leniency and clemency. He permits repentance for sins, and he does not pull out the weed from his garden until it is given a chance to show that it might actually be wheat. God is the one who will determine at harvest time what is wheat and what is weed. Likewise, when something bad happens in our lives and we are quick to react and label it as bad, we might do better to wait a bit and see what we can do with God's grace to change a situation and make it better. Lord, please help us to be patient with one another as you are with us and others.